Hello everyone, I welcome you back to Learning Management System initiated by Department of Collegiate and Technical Education. I am Kavishri from Government Polytechnic Mulbagan. In this particular session, we will be discussing about continuation of the stone masonry, which we have already seen in the previous session. Let's have a recap of last session. So we have seen the uses of stone masonry and classification of stone masonry. There are two types of stone masonry, rubble masonry, ashlar masonry. So this is the classification we have seen. Under stone masonry, there are two categories, rubble masonry and ashlar masonry. The rubble masonry is again divided into six categories. Uncoosed rubble masonry, coast rubble masonry, random rubble masonry, polygonal rubble masonry, flint rubble masonry, and finally dry rubble masonry. In case of ashlar masonry, again it is divided into following types: ashlar fine masonry, ashlar rough tooled masonry, ashlar rock or very faced masonry, ashlar chamfered masonry, ashlar block in course masonry, and finally we have seen ashlar facing masonry. These are the categories of stone masonry. And the main difference between rubble masonry and ashlar masonry is that in case of rubble masonry, we will use undressed or roughly dressed stones for the construction. And in case of ashlar masonry, we will use finely dressed stones. So that is one of the main difference between rubble masonry and ashlar masonry. Okay, I'll just show you some of the pictures which is not in a order, just to have a, revision. Okay, and just guess which type of masonry is this. See this picture showing which type of masonry it is. Uncoased rubble masonry. Can you guess this one? These are all the different types of rubble masonry I'm showing here. See in this picture, the face is showing the irregular polygons. Therefore, it is known as polygonal rubble masonry. So this is again another type of masonry. Can you guess? Yes, it is dry rubble masonry. And this is picture of flint rubble masonry. Can you guess this one? See, in this picture it is clear. These are the undressed stones we have used, and cores are not maintained. That's why it is called undressed rubble masonry, uncoased rubble masonry. Sorry. And in this picture, you can make it. See, can make it out. The courses are equal height. That's why it is called coast rubble masonry. Next, we have rock or quarry faced rubble masonry. The faces are chisel dressed and sides are undressed. It is not exact size sides. Okay, then it is known as rubble masonry. Next, moving on to next slide, the different types of ashlar masonry. Again, I'm not putting the pictures in sequence. Just guess what are the different types of ashlar masonries. See this one. This is ashlar fine masonry. or it is ashlar masonry, one of the superior type of masonry compared to all other masonries. The joints and beds are of equal size and course are of equal height. So you can make out. This is roughly tooled. Ashlar rough tooled masonry. The faces are roughly tooled. And this one is ashlar quarry or rock faced. Next one is ashlar chamfered masonry. Observe the edges of the each stone. See, they have given inclination to the borders. Okay. The edges of the stones are beveled at an angle of 45 degree. Ashlar chamfered masonry. Next one, ashlar block-in masonry. So you're seeing stones and backside is random or brick masonry. It is ashlar block-in coarse masonry. And finally, we are seeing ashlar facing masonry. The facing of the masonry is made up of ashlar stones, and the backing of the masonry is constructed with the rubble. Rubble masonry or brick masonry. Okay, then it is known as ashlar facing masonry. Okay, we have studied these things in the last previous session. In the present session, we are going to discuss, or we are going to see the stone cladding works. Okay, the introduction about the stone cladding work and the procedure adopted for laying and the general principles used in stone masonry construction. What are the principles you must follow while constructing the stone masonry? And at the end, we are going to see some of the MCQs to refresh your learning in this session. Okay, let us start with the introduction of stone cladding for facing of walls. Same, stone cladding is used as a protective and decorative covering for exterior or interior vertical walls and the surfaces. So it is the one of the most expensive building cladding system because stones are very costly and labor intensive. So labor intensive means the production and the cost of labor are very high. Stone cladding brings a feel of natural style and elegance to structures. Is it so? So to any other type of cladding, it gives the ambience, the elegance of the structure is improved, and it is the best. A facing of thin stone layers of natural or stimulated stones such as we will use limestone, sandstone, slate, marble or granite are used for the cladding works. See? And stone lining up to 80 mm should be treated as cladding work. Here, see stone veneer we are using for the cladding works. So we can give lining up to 18 mm should be treated as cladding work, and thin tiles of 300 mm square and 450 mm square pieces in thickness. So here in this picture you can observe all the pieces of the small stones. Okay, and ranging from 10 mm to 20 mm are often used for the interior cladding and setting cement mortar bed on the masonry backup. If we use cladding for the exterior wall, it is recommended to use mechanical anchors along with the cement mortar applied to thin tiles, which increases the durability of the cladding work. Next is we'll see what are the advantages and disadvantages of the stone cladding. See, it resists weather conditions. than other materials like plastering, so it minimizes the maintenance cost. It has different natural colors that do not change from the weathering conditions, and sunlight that depends on its chemical elements such as white, black, yellow, gray, pink, etc. Next, we'll see disadvantages of stone cladding. See, it requires skilled labor force, and some stones are decay. And stones like marble is too expensive for cladding work because marble is itself it's a very costly. So if we use marble as a cladding material, then definitely it will be more expensive. Next, we'll see the procedure adopted for laying of exterior cladding. How we should lay the cladding work. This is one of the expected question in your examination. For 5 marks, they may ask or short notes about cladding work. Okay, so it is a very simple procedure I am explaining now. How we should lay a cladding. See, this we have to take it in 3 steps. So step 1, prepare the surface. First, anything you apply, whether plastering, cladding, anything, the main first basic step is prepare the surface, isn't it? Okay, let us start the steps one by one. Stone veneer can be applied to any masonry surface such as concrete, existing brick or foundation cinder block, etc. If working with the wood or any non-masonry surface, you can create an appropriate surface, see, by surrounding non-masonry surface with a water barrier. Okay. See, stone veneer means it is a small thickness, thin layer of the stone piece, okay, which is used for the cladding work is known as stone veneer. If you are applying cladding for a wood or non-masonry surface, see non-masonry surface will be like if we are using clay bricks, okay, if we are working on a clay bricks, then that is not a 100% waterproof, isn't it? So non-masonry surface, then we should use water barrier. Sorry, water barrier can be created if working on the on those materials. Usually, moisture vapor barrier is nothing but typically polythene sheeting we are going to use in this. Next, apply a moisture vapor barrier in case of exterior application of cladding or working on wood surface. See exterior application ಅಂದಾಗ ನಾವು moisture vapor barrier ನ apply ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. See moisture vapor barrier is nothing but typically we are going to use polythene sheeting as a moisture vapor barrier. Okay. And usually exterior application ಮಾಡ್ತಿದೀವಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ we must provide moisture vapor barrier. Next, create a barrier of 18 gauge metal lamp after placing of water vapor barrier. Okay, ಆಮೇಲೆ the metal lamp provide ಮಾಡಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು we should fix the stone cladding. Create a scratch coat with 2:1 or 3:1 mortar. See, scratch coat ನ prepare ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. Okay, why 2:1 and 3:1? Because it is very rich mortar. Next, before the scratch coat dries, scrape the horizontal grooves into the scratch coat. See, first ನಾವಿಲ್ಲಿ scratch coat ನ apply ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. In this picture, you are observing scratch coat of mortar, rich mortar they are using. So, before the scratch coat dries, we should scrape the horizontal grooves into the scratch coat. Okay. So, this is about the preparing the surface for cladding. Next step is installing the stone. See how we should install the cladding. In this picture, you are seeing scratch coat of mortar. Okay, and this is the stone veneer. That means a thin stone is called stone veneer, and it is directly applied to the wall. Okay, how we should install the stone? See, mix the mortar following the same ratio used for the scratch coat, that is 2:1 or 3:1 in a proper consistency. If it is too wet, mortar will lose its strength. And if it is too dry, the mortar will seize up too quickly. That's why it should be in a proper consistency. Next, determine the layout of the stones on ground before placing it directly on the wall. It will save time and increase the quality of the work. Okay, direct ಆಗಿ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಹೋಗಬಾರ್ದು. Before applying ನೀವೇನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ground ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ first place ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. Just first you plan how it should be. Okay, so once ನಾವು direct ಆಗಿ wall ಮೇಲೆನೆ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? In case work ಸರಿ ಆಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ ಆಗಿ ಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ, it is very difficult to rework. ಅದನ್ನ ತೆಗೆದು ಮತ್ತೆ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ time take ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Time taking ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಹಿಡಿಯುತ್ತೆ. Okay, that's why we should always plan before laying of cladding. Trim the stones to shape using chipping hammer, trowel ends. The stones are wetted before laying. In all the process of bricks agli, stone masonry agli, in construction, the material has to be wet before it is laid. Next, apply the mortar on the backside of the stone pieces one by one and start installing the stones beginning in the bottom corner. One by one corner in the backside, one stone ke backside mortar na apply ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. Then you should place it from the bottom, one corner. Okay, bottom. Next, move on to step number 3, that is finishing the process. Last stage of installing, placing of cladding. Once you place all the stones in position, you should fill the joints with a grout bag. See, grout bag is a dense liquid, usually a mortar consisting of cement, sand, and water. Okay, so ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ ಈ ಪಿಕ್ಚರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರ್ಬೋದು. Once mortar ನ ಹಾಕಿ stone cladding ನ ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾರೆ, correct? So stone cladding na fix madadmele, by using mortar, he is filling with it with grout bag. Okay, joints apply madbeku. Next, clean away any excess particles with plain water, a whisk broom from the face of the stone within 30 minutes. Yake andre, see, ಈಗ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ in case in this stone you can observe ಅವರು fill ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ face ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ಬಂದಿದೆ mortar, correct? So we should remove it so that ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ clear image, and once it is completed, neat ಕಾಣಿಸುತ್ತೆ. That's why we should clean away any excess particles with the plain water, right, within 30 minutes. Otherwise ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ mortar will dry up. Okay, next, apply a sealer to the joints. See, once you completed applying of the grout bag to the joints, you should always apply a stone sealer to the joints. Stone sealer. What do you mean by stone sealer? See, stone sealer is the application of the treatment given for the natural stone. Okay, sealed stone will be easier to clean and maintain. Once you surface treatment right, it will be very easy to clean. And at the end, moisture work is in cement mortar should be kept constantly moist on all faces for a minimum period of 7 days. And curing, you should cure the work for 7 days because minimum strength attained at the concrete joints. Okay, this is about the procedure for cladding. This is very important topic, and in examination, definitely you're going to expect one question from this unit, or sorry, in this chapter, means about cladding. Either they may ask, write a short note on cladding, or they can ask the procedure for laying of the cladding to the walls. This is a very simple procedure of laying of the cladding. Next, let's move on to the general principles in stone masonry construction. General principles. ಅಂದ್ರೆ construction ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ನೀವು what all the points you should kept in mind. That is what general principles in stone masonry. Okay. So we'll see one by one. The stones used should be hard, tough, and durable. The pressure acting on stones should be vertical. So that place ನಾನು stone place ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ನಾನು already first topic ಅಲ್ಲಿ explain ಮಾಡಿದೆ in natural bed how you should place these stones. Always you should place this stone, it should be right angles to the load line. Correct? The pressure acting on the stone should be vertical. The stones should be properly dressed as per the requirements. ಯಾವ ಮೇಸನ್ರಿ ವಾಲ್ನ ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಯಾವ ಸ್ಟೋನ್ ಯಾವ ಟೈಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಸ್ಟೋನ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. That's why it is as per the requirements you should dress the stones. All the surfaces should be kept wet while work in progress and also till the mortar has set. Why? Because mortar should attain the minimum strength. That's why we should always keep the surfaces wet. Next, proper bond should be maintained throughout the masonry. The construction should be well supervised. Okay, and toothing should not be allowed in stone masonry. Toothing we have already seen. What do you mean by toothing? So toothing is nothing but the finishing of the ends of the masonry wall. Usually the alternate courses. In the alternate courses, the brick will project outside. It is known as toothing. But in case of stone masonry, it is not allowed. Okay, because stones will be heavy. That's why toothing should not be allowed in stone masonry. All the surfaces should be kept wet, that we have seen. Next, in all sloping retaining walls, the beds of the stones and the plane of the courses should be at right angles to the slope. So this is again in case of sloping retaining wall, the beds of the stones and the plan of the courses should be at right angles to the slope. ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅದು ಬೀಳ್ದಿರ ಇರೋ ತರ ಪ್ರಿವೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. Okay, wall. Mortar used should be good quality and in the specified proportion. Of course, we should, in case of Ashtar masonry, we should use rich mortar. Okay, and that's why it should be according to the specified proportions. The construction of stone masonry should be raised uniformly. Once brick construction, one part complete ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡೋದು ಆಮೇಲೆ another part start ಮಾಡೋದು. No, it's not like that. Stone masonry work ಅಲ್ಲಿ always the construction should be raised uniformly. First one layer for some height, next layer, like uniformly we should raise the wall. Next, the hearting of the masonry should be properly packed with the mortar and chips if necessary to avoid any hollows or very thick mortar joints. So now hearting nalli proper stone chips na use ಮಾಡಿ we should fill the spaces in between. Okay, and vertical faces of the masonry wall should be checked with a plumber. and wooden templates are used to check the battery spaces. Okay. Next point is broken stones or small stone chips should be minimized in the construction of the wall. Okay, because it will break easily. Powder form convert agata. That's why we should always avoid broken stones as much as possible. The exposed joints in stone masonry should be properly pointed. Exposed joints. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೋಸ್ ಜಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಯೂಶಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ವೆದರಿಂಗ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೋಸ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಫಾರ್ ವೆದರ್ ವೆದರ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಸನ್ಲೈಟ್ ಆರ್ ರೈನ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಎಕ್ಸೆಟ್ರಾ ಜಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ ಆಗಿ ಫಿಲ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ದ ವಾಟರ್ ಮೇ ಸೀಪ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ದ ವಾಲ್ಸ್ and it may create dampness, isn't it? That's why the exposed joints in the stone masonry should be properly pointed. Stones should be arranged in such a manner as to have proper interlocking between the two stones and minimum of voids. In case of dry rubble masonry, now we mortar use madala. So we will use larger stones and the gaps between the larger stones is filled with the small stone chips, right? So in that case, we should arrange the stones in such a manner it should have a proper interlocking between the two stones. Okay, and always you should avoid the voids. Next point, the entire work, whatever you do, should be cured well, at least for a minimum period. You should be cured well. So we have reached at the last stage, that is MCQs. We have completed all our topics, today's topic. Let's moving on to the MCQs. First question, the protective and decorative covering given for exterior or interior vertical wall and surfaces is called. So there are 4 choices given. You have to choose the most appropriate one. Dadoing. Option A is dadoing. Option B, ducking. Option C, cladding. And option D, dry rubble masonry. Just write out for yourself. The protective and decorative covering given for exterior or interior vertical walls and surfaces is called. Definitely the answer will be cladding. Option C. It is a definition of cladding. Let's move on to the second question. Dash is the most expensive building facade cladding system. So there are some of the different cladding we have not discussed in this class because our topic is only stone cladding. But we have different types of cladding: stone cladding, timber cladding, aluminum cladding, brick cladding. Compared to any other cladding, stone cladding will be the expensive building facade cladding system. Okay, we have studied only stone cladding in this session. That's why I'm directly answering the question. Let's move on to the next question. The proportion, sorry, let me erase the annotations I have used in the previous slide. Okay. Yeah, here we go. Right. The proportion of mortar usually used for the scratch coat. Option A, 3:1. Option B, 2:1. Option C, both A and B. Option D, none of the above. Try solving the question. It is very simple. The proportion of mortar usually used for the scratch coat in cladding. Option A is 3:1. This may be our answer because 3:1 is the rich mortar. Again, 2:1 is even a rich mortar. This even may be the answer. C, both A and B. See, for cladding work, we should always use rich mortar. 3:1 is rich mortar and 2:1 is also a rich mortar. That's why the answer will be option C, both A and B. We can use either 3:1 or we can use 2:1. Yes. Our answer is option C. Moving on to the next question. In stone cladding, the joints of stones should be filled with dash after placing the stones in position. In stone cladding, the joints of stones should be filled with dash after placing the stones in position. Option A, cement. Option B, grout bag. Option C, sand. Option D, all of the above. Think, 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 and answer to the question. Hope you have solved the question. I think most of the students have selected option D as the answer because we say grout bag is nothing but it is a mortar, means it includes cement and it includes sand, it includes water. That's what grout bag means. Okay, but option D is a wrong answer. A right answer is option B, that is grout bag. Okay, so grout bag is a mortar of cement, sand, and water. Okay, let me erase the annotations. Moving on to the next question. The vertical faces of the masonry walls should be checked with a dash. Vertical faces of the masonry walls should be checked with dash. Option A, wooden template. Option B, hammer. Option C, trowel. And option D, plumb bob. I think this question doesn't need much time because everybody knows the verticality of the wall is checked by using plumb bob. So right answer is option D, plumb bob. Moving on to the next question. Toothing can be allowed in stone masonry. I'm repeating the question. Toothing can be allowed in stone masonry. Option A, statement is correct. Option B, this statement is incorrect. Option C, only in some cases. Option D, none of the above. Think before you answer the question. If you select option A as answer, means toothing can be allowed in stone masonry. Yes, we can allow it in the stone masonry, isn't it? Option B, this statement is incorrect. Means toothing should not be used in stone masonry. We cannot use it in stone masonry. That's what option B means. And option C means only in some cases. In some cases, we can use toothing. And option D defines none of the above. Means none of the answers are correct. I hope you have selected the right answer. That is option B. Statement is incorrect. Why? Because toothing cannot be allowed in stone masonry. As we have discussed in the general principles of stone masonry, toothing should not be used in stone masonry. Right? Let's moving on to the last slide. These are the answers for MCQs we have studied till now. And these are some of the references we have collected the data and presenting here. And finally, I'm thanking you, the whole LMS team, for providing me this opportunity and guiding me. So thank you all.